What are you doing, Andrew?
I'm looking at the stars, Felix.
We're inside, Andrew.
Thank you for ruining the illusion of our ceilingless office. I'm looking at the stars because that's what so many brands at SIHH were doing. It was a year of the moon phase. There were more astronomical complications than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, right.
And we're starting with the mother of them all, the daddy of them all.
The top end of town.
Yes, we are going to talk about 5 things that Vacheron Constantin wowed us with this year, but I must start with Les Cabinetières.
Tell me about it, Andrew.
Okay, it's a 45mm watch, so it doesn't look huge, but inside that, 23 astronomically sort of leaning complications.
Yeah, right. That is, does it tell the time?
Well, it does tell the time. Not only does it tell the time, it tells the time 3 modes of time we have.
There's more than one time.
There is. There's mean time, which is the time that
regular time.
Regular time.
Yep.
There's solar time.
Okay.
Yes, and then it gets even more complicated. There's sidereal time. So there's 3, and each of these modes of time were powered by individual gear trains. So
I remember this press conference actually. It's around this point when they started explaining sidereal time, my head just started.
Yes. We are intelligent men, but this was well beyond our capabilities. But let's just talk about it aesthetically, because that's 23 complications in a tiny little piece. What is it? 2 square inches of space, and it's a really lovely composed dial. There's just so much to look at here. Look, it's a sibling of the 57-260, the most complicated watch ever made, which had 57.
57.
Yes, strangely enough, complications. But it is really a watch that stole the show for a lot of people, and there was we talk about surprise and delight in terms of movements and architecture. There was one particular thing. There's a Marioscape, which is a tidal representation at 11 that just is so cute. There's a sun. I know you're pulsating again. There's sun. There's a moon. There's high and low tides. This is a watch that just showed.
It's for the fishermen out there.
Well, this is for the highest of high-end watch collectors and watch aficionados at that sort of high horology level. It blew my tiny mind.
Do you know that blew my mind, but do you know what else blew my mind?
What?
That wasn't the only ridiculously high-end watch that Vacheron did this year.
It just kept hurting heads.
Yeah, they did their first ever Grand Sonore wristwatch, which was sounded and looked beautiful.
Yes.
They also did a trio of Métiers d'Arts watches called the Celestial Spheres, which it looks like there's a very pretty dials, one with a zodiac, one with sort of a Copernican enamel illustration, and at first
quite sculptured and structural.
Yeah, they're like little mini artworks on your wrist. It looks like there's no hands, and there's a sun in the middle, and there's a representation of the Earth. And if you look closely, you'll see 2 hands at the outside of the dial that go around every 12 hours, and then it gets really amazing. The Earth rotates on its axis every 24 hours, and it rotates around the sun every year. Nuts.
Can you imagine? I know. So we're going to go from that to something that's much easier to get your head around, which is the Vacheron Overseas two-tone. I talked about it in our top 10, but there's just something about this combination of a really sumptuous brown alligator strap with the gold bezel. It all came together for me as while Felix was having his sort of mind reconstructed, I just went over and went, oh, that's pretty. Put it on and spent 20 minutes trying to get a good shot in poor lighting. So,
and there's that's not the only everyday piece that they had. They had a really nice version of the Patrimony Perpetual Calendar with a pink gold case and a slate sort of anthracite grey dial.
Oh, that's great.
It's such an easy combination to win with, and I mean, nothing new mechanically, but it's one of my picks from the collection. And they also had another slight twist of the Patrimony Retrograde. I'm just going to refer to the actual model name. Hold, please. And they had another.
Are you reading from notes? Are you cheating?
And they had another, saves on post-production editing. They had another slight twist on a classic, the Patrimony moon phase retrograde date. So visually for me, it looks quite nice. I mean, there's that nice big arc at the top of the date, and where in the past we've had the week, we've now got a moon phase, that pretty little moon that we, gazed up at the stars at, and again, the arc of the moon phase. So it's a nice balanced, symmetrical dial, and it really brings Vacheron's design forte to the forefront.
It does, and look, it's competing at the forefront with their incredible high horology credibility. We were expecting them to maybe take a little break this year, but
yeah, they've just been, you know, burning the candle at all three ends.
Yeah, there's the watchmakers there are obviously
Yeah.
under the pump and putting out truly, I mean, it's
Look, I mean,
it
we often,
stretches the mind, and that's a good thing.
for me, we talk about the top three of high horology, and SIHH 2017 proves that Vacheron still definitely has a seat at the table.
Yeah.